The following is not rated. It contains adult language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I see him all the time. We're always like, hey, hey.
I don't actually remember the first interaction I had with Brian. It's kind of like, you know, he was not in my life, now he is in my life, and that's just how it goes. And once again, he'll probably be out of my life eventually. That's okay.
He'd ask me to buy stuff, and I would. And just ended up talking to him through that, you know, that way.
I know him because he comes downtown, and I work downtown, and he walks around here and passes out his poetry.
I know Brian just through years walking around downtown, being downtown. Now I work downtown, so I see him quite a bit.
Whether you know him or not, people want to know what he's all about. You may have seen him on the streets of downtown Colorado Springs, and you might have even bought one of his writings or political posters. But there is more to Brian than what you can see. In an attempt to find out more about this downtown fixture, we set out to capture the story of Brian Nemeth. So Shane Lyons had got in contact with me through a mutual person that we knew. He had mentioned that he wanted to do this documentary, and that person told him about me. And so we got in contact, we talked, and he told me about, you know, this guy who was very inspiring to a lot of local Colorado Springs people downtown, and what he's doing to try to accomplish his goals and everything against all odds. Where, you know, he's got these things that would hold most people back from being able to accomplish their dreams, and he doesn't care. He just, you know, strives forward. And so yeah, I'm interested. So we got together, and for the first day of shooting, went down to Brian's apartment and shot the first day of footage there at his place.
4503, there it is. Oh, that's great. Hey, we're downstairs, man. All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm Shane.
Hey Shane, I know. Hey Jordan.
When did you switch from, you were doing a lot of social commentary to your poetry. When did that switch happen?
That social commentary thing happened when my folks read some naughty poems I published in the Newspeak newspaper, and they told me to broaden my writing scope. Before I wrote some naughty poems, I was a reporter getting my hand in some reporting for the Pikes Peak Community College newspaper. And I've done some reporting before I've done some naughty poetry. And after my folks were offended by the stuff I wrote, they told me to broaden my writing scope because that's my career.
A friend of mine, Tim, he paints curbs. He's kind of a vagabond. He travels around the country, and he paints curbs. And every once in a while, he'll in a city, if he gets too much work, he'll get help. And so Scoop was helping him out I think it was a summer. And so he was hanging out with Tim all day, and ended up coming over to the house, met my wife and daughter, and we went downstairs, and he recorded a poem over some noise that I had made, and my friend was kind of doing a guitar solo, and he recorded that poem. It's awesome.
Good bush, bad bush. Just what is a good bush? The removal of all excess hair, but making a straight vertical line in her sacred area down south.
And after that, I mean, we kept trying to set times because he wanted to do like a voice demo for Fox News. And we kept trying to set a time and date, but you know, things just never never clicked. I'd still love him to come over and do some more recording.
You know, I don't know a whole lot about Brian. I know that he wants to be a news reporter or an anchor. He seems determined to do that. I know he's been going to college for a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but I heard he's going to be going to Denver here pretty soon to keep that up. It looks like this is really what he wants to do. And he's determined to do it.
My lifelong dream is to have my own network evening newscast on the Fox network, be on at 10:30 p.m., 9:30 Central and Mountain, and do it out of the Fox News channel in New York. Restaurants, malls, shops, and other businesses are hurting right now, and our federal government is not doing a damn thing to help get the economy back on track. So it's up to us to come up with some creative ways to help take that recession and stick a fork in its ass. This is Scoop Nemeth reporting. One more time.
I think that if broadcast journalism was broad-minded and open-minded enough to have Brian in it, then we would have made a huge stride as a society. So I hope for the best for him.
You know, it's a very competitive business to be in, and the kind of people who actually wind up getting those jobs tend to be very educated and tend to be really, really good at what they do. So he's got the deck stacked way against him. So I don't think it's very likely that he'll be able to do exactly what he wants to do. However, I do think that the guy is interesting enough that there could be some sort of future for him, because I think people would find it fascinating to see him in some sort of role on television, honestly.
You know, actually, I met Brian forever ago when I was at Palmer High School, because he went to Palmer High School, and I think he's a grade or two ahead of me. And he was infamous at Palmer High School even when I was going there.
Did he seem like he was interested in journalism in high school?
Oh, absolutely. He's always been the Scoop. I mean, I've known him forever as the Scoop, and even as he was getting ready to graduate, he's always talking about going into journalism straight away and going and working at KRCC on the radio show. And then, I mean, has always been. He was doing sports announcement stuff for the CC Tigers. I mean, he's been involved with journalism forever. I mean, that has been his real thing, nonstop. And he has also been this ridiculously strong political guy the entire time, forever. I can't tell you how many times I have heard him rant about, who's a terrible politician and who needs to back off and yada yada. But as long as I've always known him ever, he is Scoop and always has been and always will be.
So we wanted to create this mock newscast for Brian. We got with the Pikes Peak Community College to use their newsroom for their studio. And we told Brian, hey, write a couple stories as if you're a news anchor, and we're going to shoot it at the Pikes Peak Community College studio and put it together like a news segment. You put together your own graphics, your own script and everything. We'll put it in the teleprompter, and we'll shoot this mock newscast. And of course, he shows up for a day of shooting, and we check out the script and before we start shooting, and it's kind of what you would expect from Brian, and it was pretty crazy.
Is $25. Divide the amount by 5 people. The driver pays. Cut. Try again.
Start on the one that cuts to when you start the story.
What's that?
Start on the one that cuts to when you start the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to try to do it from the story?
Are we rocking and rolling or what?
We're rolling.
Go for it.
Go Denver Broncos, I'm Scoop Nemeth. Here's what's happening. Go Denver Broncos, I'm Scoop Nemeth. Here's what's happening. Suppose there's a 5-passenger car. There are 5 people in the car counting the driver, and the price at the pump is $25. Divide the amount by 5 people. The driver pays $5, and 4 friends each pay $5 per passenger. The driver then saved lots of money rather than be the one at the pump paying full price. In fact, The driver and 4 friends can take the money they saved at the pump and spend it at fun places like baseball games, malls, arcades, etc. And that right there is helping get the economy back on track. Brian's Nemeth reminding us that life is a cheerful buffet with desserts for kicking ass. Don't fill up on me.
So we get through the first part of the newscast, and it's pretty good. It's about like carpooling and how you can save money on gas by having your friends chip in for when you're carpooling to work or whatever. And then it goes into the second part, and it was just like, it was crazy. It was like, this is definitely not something you would see like on Fox News or just on a local news station or anything. This is more like Howard Stern kind of thing, and it was. It was still, very Brian style. I mean, if you've seen his writings or read his writings or anything that he's done, it was his style, but it definitely was not something that you're going to just turn into your local newscasts and all of a sudden see a news anchor reporting on.
In other headlines, former Alaska governor and 2008 vice presidential candidate nominee on the Republican ticket, Sarah Palin's real name is Salmon Vagina. It's because she smells like wild Alaskan salmon and she farts Republican bias from her vagina, Salmon Vagina. OnTheIssues.org shows proof that she farts that kind of bias, which has that offensive salmon odor to make third parties like myself and Democrats turn away from her.
I think he's doing what he wants. He's going for it. He's doing his passion, and he's kept at it, unlike so many of us.
He just gets after it, everything he does is with the end goal. I am going to school today so that I can be a Fox News anchor whenever tomorrow becomes. I'm going to sell this poem to this person right now so that I can become a Fox News anchor tomorrow. I mean, everything that he does is for that end goal. And I think that that's awesome. I mean, if half the people had half that focus, the world would be a different place, would be absolutely different place.
I go to school during the mornings, sell my writings the rest of the day, pay back my parents, and then come home and do my homework and write some stuff.
We actually have a standing agreement where he comes by on Thursdays and sells his stuff, which I actually do. I have some right here actually. He actually came by today because it's Thursday. So he comes by every Thursday, and whatever money we can pull together as a team, we're like, hey, whatever, Some days he's selling pencils and poems, and other days he's selling his relatively raunchy erotic stories, and that's okay too. In fact, I believe Johnny has a giant collection of them on his desk that he's bundled together over the past year or so.
We actually have a file of all the stuff that he brings in, and this was actually when I was first here, just getting started, and yeah, so they showed me the file, and I was like, wow, that's some interesting stuff.
How long ago did you start working?
About a year ago. Yes, about a year ago.
And you had that going on for a while, that collection of files, like?
Yeah, they've had probably for the last couple of years, probably six years maybe, depending on when he started. It's substantial, of his stuff and of other stuff that just filters in.
I feel it's great for the world to open up to Brian Scoop Nemeth, who is more than just a seller of his writing pieces. He's going to classes. I'm a journalism student at Pikes Peak Community College.
What would you like to get if you had 50 extra bucks? Where would that go?
I have no idea. Probably going to my first Broncos game.
Oh man, nice.
I've never been inside Invesco Field at Mile High before. I usually watch the Broncos games on television.
So if you had to break it down, what percentage of your time do you sell and what percentage do you go to school?
50% going to school and 50% selling.
How long will you wait here for the bus normally?
It should come any minute now, because it comes at 40 minutes before the hour. Right now it's 9:37 a.m.
Next stop, Shelton and Fountain.
So when you feel that people who reject you, reject your work, is it your work that they're rejecting?
No, it's the fact that they think I'm using the money for booze, liquor, and smokes, which I'm not. And I never use that shit ever. Thanks, Jace. How you doing? Seen you around, haven't I?
What do you think of like when you see him walking around? Some people might consider him like a panhandler or a beggar.
Yeah, and I've talked with other panhandlers, and I mean I talked to a lot of people, but the panhandlers are really cynical toward him because they think that that's all he's doing, and that he only tries to sell you something if there's like a cop around, so he doesn't get in trouble. So they see him as competition, which I thought was kind of strange. But when I see him interact with other people, yeah, some people trying to shoo him away and treat him like a panhandler. But other people are like me and they're like, hey, Brian, Scoop, what's up? You know, I mean, he knows everybody and everybody knows who he is, you know.
Guy walks up to me, I don't know, trying to sell me papers. I was like, what the fuck? Somebody's trying to sell me their school papers? Like, what's going on here? But my kind of philosophy on people asking me for money is, well, at least they're going to provide me with service. Like, okay, he's giving me something to read. That's better than just asking me for money. People playing music, at least they're providing music for somebody. I'd rather give them money than somebody just asking me for money, and who knows, you know. Nobody really knows what they want money for, but at least they're providing something for you.
Well, you know, panhandling, it's sitting, here's my pen, here's my, you know, please give to me. And I don't really have a problem with that, but he's definitely not doing that. He always has something to give back. And by that, I don't mean just a kind word or a hello or something like that, which is always offered. But, I mean, he works, he writes. He's a writer. He's an artist.
Tackling a very controversial issue. No thanks? Why?
Well, you're an American. Anything can happen. So good luck to you.
For that lady who turned me, for the lady over there with the glasses and the blue shirt.
The one who left?
Yeah. She didn't like the controversial issue and stuff.
Didn't. She got a little upset.
Yeah, she'll have to make the right decision. She'll have to make the right decision to go with my view, go independent, or face the consequences. Bitch just left me hanging. When people turn me down, like say no thank you, not interested, I'll pass and I'm good, just like the lady in the blue shirt did, in the glasses and the blue shirt. That's what really gets my goat.
Why does that get your goat, right?
Because they're not, all they want is to eat up everything the mainstream media tells them. Mainstream, they don't want to hear anything, they don't want to hear the truth and anything good anymore. Any issue I talk about, look at the liberal side first, conservative side second, and balance it out for the independents.
One time Brian didn't have anything to sell me while we were downtown. And so he went digging through his backpack and he pulled out his homework, which I think was about geometry. It had something to do with the football, and he sold me his homework. So I figured I'd share that.
How much did you buy his homework for?
I think it was $3. Yeah. It was not worth $3.
You still have it?
No, yeah, I don't know. I think it's in the file wherever that's at. I think it's in here somewhere. I think that his homework's in here.
Can you talk to me a little bit about, so you have Asperger's and autism.
I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, mild autism, and schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, okay. And how often does that come into play as far as, how much does if you could break it down percentage, how much does schizophrenia affect your day-to-day life?
I have no clue.
Okay, that's fair. Do you feel most of your readers are aware that you have autism and Asperger's and schizophrenia?
Yeah.
He made me a little nervous at first when I'm friends with Noel Black, and he said, no, he's autistic, that's why he's like that. And I was like, oh, light dawns, and I appreciate how he has, in his own, for our community, a little bit edgy, sort of a way, has made a way for himself. He's almost done with school, and he's added a lot to our community, yeah.
You'd be surprised, Jordan's gotten an amazing response to people like, yeah, I know that guy, I love that guy, I got a great story about him. But we're going to cover both sides of it. We're going to cover, there are people that don't like you. So we need to talk to them as well.
Including the people that don't, one of the people that don't like me is the sunglasses shop motherfucker.
Why doesn't he like you?
When he sees me selling my writings everywhere, I've seen his face everywhere.
So he doesn't like you because of why? Because you're selling material? There are lots of people that sell material.
They think that he says the words like scam, and I'm calling the police and stuff like that.
Has he ever called the police on you?
No.
So Brian had kind of explained to us where this sunglass place was at, where this guy worked at, and he had a lot of problems with. At the time, we didn't know the name of the shop or anything like that, and we were just kind of wandering around downtown, kind of looking for this place because we were, interested in talking to the guy and kind of getting his side of the story. And the area where we thought it was at, there was an empty building, and it was for lease. So we thought that this guy no longer worked there, or the shop had been closed down, or whatever, and he was free because he would intentionally avoid that section of downtown so that he didn't have to have any kind of confrontation with that guy. And so we told Brian, we were like, hey, we think this place is closed down.
The sunglass hut is closed. They don't exist anymore. Oh. Where do you go check out?
You mean that sunglasses shop motherfucker's finally out of business? You mean that sunglasses shop bastard who keeps harassing me and other people just got driven out of downtown?
It turned out it wasn't the right place. It was it wasn't the sunglass place. The sunglass place was still there.
Between you two, what happened?
I have no clue, but he has seen me sell my writing works, and he said I needed a permit. You don't need a permit for stuff like this. And I checked with the city licensing over there a while back. I have no clue what his beef is with me, but I'm not the only victim of that sunglasses shop motherfucker's bullshit.
Do you think if we talk to him, he'd talk to us?
You can try, but he'll be as hostile as he was to you as he was to me.
All right, we're just at the sunglass shop where Brian is a quote-unquote victim. Brian is very upset by this man, has some documents proving that he has harassed other people. We tried to get an interview with the sunglass man, but not only did he deny us, he completely denied even knowing Brian. Let me talk to you quickly about this. We just tried to get an interview from the sunglass guy, and he refused. Why do you think he's... we want to get this interview, and we have that petition, right? We want to get his point of view as well, not just yours. We want to be fair and balanced. So, do you think that he'll eventually give us that interview, or do you think he's too hard-headed?
Too hard-headed.
When did the first controversy start with him?
The first controversy started with him when I first begun selling my writings in 2003.
What was the worst scenario that ever happened to him? What was your guys' worst confrontation?
When I was selling my writings in front of to somebody, and the sunglasses shop dude came out, and he said, I don't want you selling, get out of here. And when I was walking into the sunglasses shop, and he said, out of there.
He didn't want to listen at all?
He didn't want to listen at all.
So he never gave you a shot?
He never let me in. I'm moving to Denver at the end of the spring 2011 semester, which is May 2011, the same time I graduate from Pikes Peak Community College and finally get that Associate of Arts degree.
What's next?
Metro State to go for my Bachelor of Arts, and then to CU Boulder to get my Master's degree.
Great.
All 3 journalism degrees, and I'm determined to get as much off-campus journalism experience as I can, just like I did when I went to Pikes Peak Community College part-time.
What journalists have you worked with locally?
I see a I'm used to looking at butterflies in pictures, but I'm scared of those creatures.
Why are you scared of butterflies?
Scared of those hideous winged creatures. Yep, that's the hideous winged creature. Oh.
Why are you afraid of butterflies?
I have no clue. I'm just scared of those hideous winged creatures. Right about there. I'm here, butterflies there. That's where I usually stay, and I'm not afraid of butterflies in pictures. I'm afraid of butterflies landing on me and flying over my head.
What do you think they'll do?
I have no idea what they'll do.
Hold your eyes out.
Can I ask you a really personal question?
Yeah.
What else are you afraid of?
Afraid of death, especially when I'm surrounded by natural toxins where I have to spit out so I won't get any germs in my mouth.
Like what kind of germs? Just daily germs? Or
Daily germs, daily toxins. Yeah.
Are you afraid of any people?
No, I'm afraid of that I'm afraid of motherfuckers like that sunglasses shop bastard.
Why are you afraid?
I have no beats the fuck out of me.
Alright. Thanks, brother. Alright, man, so I'll call you this week, okay?
Alright, thanks, man.
Brian Nemeth.
All right, Brian. So you're all set now for the fall semester in Denver.
Absolutely. I'm working on 2 jobs. Number 1, doing some freelance work for the Westward newspaper, providing hard news, politics, investigative pieces, and now MMA predictions for upcoming UFC pay-per-view main events. Those are some great story ideas to help the Westward out.
So you're already enrolled in the fall semester now?
Yes, I am. 12 credit hours this semester.
What's the current status with the school, your school situation now? Because I know you got a little bit delayed.
Because I got for one, Chris, my father turned over all my finances to me, like SSI, and it'll be in my bank account, and I can be able to afford first month's rent, second month's rent, and the security deposit. I can still be able to attend just for the spring semester. Because I've missed the first 2 weeks of classes, which started August 22nd, because of my financial situation. I can still be able to attend all right, and I'm still gonna move to Denver in the middle of September all right, just that I'll be working to pay off the summer balance that I owe.
Okay. So what prevented you from being able to go to the fall semester?
Because of my financial situation, where I couldn't afford first and second month's rent, and the security deposit until now. 701, my new home. This here's the living room right here, but I sleep here in the living room and watch television. It's the same way as I was living before, back when I was in Colorado Springs. And as you can see, got a good view of the city.
How have things been since being in Denver now?
Things are going excellent, living independently full-time instead of part-time.
So tell us about when you first moved here. Where were you living when you first got here, and then how did you end up moving to this place here?
I was living at the beginning in Denver. I was living at that youth hostel. I was living at the youth hostel for 2 months, and now for 2 months, September through November, and I've been living here since November.
Okay, what was the living style conditions like when you were at the youth hostel?
When I was at the youth hostel, I had to share a room with many guys. And the living conditions, they weren't sanitary and all that jazz. But now, finally get to live by myself. I did spend a year at CCD, and I am finishing up my year at CCD. And Metro State, this summer, here I come.
Have you gotten to go see any football games yet since you've been in Denver?
I went to that Broncos game September 18th, 2011, and I'm no longer the Broncos Stadium virgin. And I wore my Broncos tie, blazer, and dress shirt to the game.
How was the game?
It was a damn good day to lose my Broncos Stadium virginity because we won against the Cincinnati Bengals.
So you're not selling anymore. You don't go and sell the way you used to in Colorado Springs.
Nope, I'm not selling the way I used to back in Colorado Springs. I've got something even better, like freelancing to publications. And having my own weekly news segment on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510 KCKK, which is today at noon. did get my head shaved last month to stand in solidarity with children with cancer.
Oh, okay.
And they've shaved all my hair off for children's cancer research.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you did that. Looks nice.
Sure does.
Yeah. You are looking dapper as usual.
Always.
Always.
How'd you find out about Brian?
My daughter takes a journalism class with him, actually. Okay. So she introduced us.
Meredith Avery.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's my new hero, as I say almost every week on the show. And we just love having his insight about all different aspects of life. So it's been great. These guys have been filming you for a couple of years now. So tell me what it's been like the last couple of years for you. What kind of goals you set, how you felt when you met them, and how you met them.
Like finding time and scheduling. That's one thing.
Okay.
Scheduling, balancing between homework and school. Gotta know when your homework is due. Gotta know what balance between selling your stuff and doing homework.
Right.
And you make sure you turn them in on time.
That's good, because you get deducted points if you don't, right?
That's right.
And some professors won't accept them, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
They'll just say, forget it. And so what about your goal of coming to Denver? Because you lived in Colorado Springs for a long time.
It's all about putting money aside to help you move. Putting money aside so that way you can afford first, second, and third month's rent and security deposit.
That's a great way to do it. There's a lot of young people who don't get that at all. And they just live at home.
There's a lot of old people that don't get that at all.
A lot of old people that don't get that at all. And one of your goals was to go to a Bronco game.
One of the things I've done was go to a live Bronco game, lose my Bronco Stadium virginity, and it was a damn good day to do so when we, the Broncos, won against the Cincinnati Bengals on September 18th, 2011.
I did hear something about your take on the police recently.
Like F the police.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Is he pretty outspoken?
Yeah. So I was curious as to how you keep that Brian under control from coming out here.
15 second delay, so he can
well,
bleep it.
He does. He
catch
controls himself. Like he's.
That's good then.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows that certain words aren't good. And
like fuck, shit, cunt, cock, motherfucker, cocksucker, and pussy.
Yeah.
I can't say that on the radio or television, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Did you get in some trouble for that?
I got called to the Dean of Students' office.
Yeah.
Oops.
They weren't happy with that, huh?
Because of the F the police.
Yeah.
And my no-holds-barred approach to investigative reporting. Got called to the Dean of Students' office because of that.
Well, what does that look like? No holds barred.
Like, when it comes to investigative reporting, like when they're trying, like when dumpster diving for information ain't enough, like the idea of holding the idea of investigative reporter having a gun, like saying, give me some information I need. Give me some information, names, addresses, new stupid shit, or I give you an instant sex change operation.
Ooh. Yeah, that might not encourage people to want to give you interviews.
No.
What else is going on here? I've totally lost my train of thought.
Well, your track isn't on the same track as it should be most of the time.
There was something I really wanted to talk about, and now I can't remember what it was.
Well, we've got his little segment to do.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
No, we're not ready. He's looking for it. Christian's looking for it. That's why I don't know what I'm doing. It's Christian's fault.
Yeah, right.
So Brian has like this segment in the radio show towards the end of the first hour where they play like this pre-recorded news story that he's done or whatever topic it is he's reporting on, and he's kind of the kind of person where he's really set on his ways where if something's supposed to happen at a certain time, it must happen at that time. He's very routine oriented, and if something kind of breaks that routine, it's a little hectic for him. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like things being taken out of his routine. So when it wasn't ready to be played at the time it was supposed to be played, it's kind of a little frustrating for him, and it got him very nervous. And it was a little nervous for us in the radio studio watching Brian. Kind of, you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know if he's going to really freak out and get really upset, or if he's going to keep it cool. But the radio personality, she did a great job of kind of reeling him back in and trying to get him back into it, and talk to him on the mic and kind of draw his attention away from the issue with the computer. And it worked for a little while, but Brian, he knows when something's not still going right, and it didn't take very long before he was kind of back and focused on the issue with his segment not being ready.
Irregardless. That's my
Strange.
word.
You're so strange.
Well, you know what? Hey, Scoop, why don't you just tell us about your, while we're looking for that, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the comedy club you went to and who you met there?
I did go to the comedy club, and I did do a story
It's more of a
about
dance
Right.
competition.
Yeah. It's not.
cheerleading.
It's not the old high school cheerleaders.
Right.
It's-
No flipping and stunts.
Well, I don't know. They do some. Not
They don't
not
do
the high.
pyra-
Not
yeah.
the pyramids or the
I
flyer.
wish they
the
did
flyer.
though, like
Yeah.
the college cheerleading.
Yeah.
Those are some amazing athletes. And I got to see the show.
What the heck?
Stupidest thing people do.
Last week it was Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, did you know, when we talked about it last week, did we know that this woman he had actually given was on the payroll?
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
he gave her a job, and
I just read that in
gave her
SI
20
today.
grand, and then she resigned this week. I took the over under September for when she's in Playboy.
Oh, you're kidding, you
No.
think?
Oh, of course. You
You
see
think
her?
so? No, I haven't seen
No,
it.
she's gorgeous, and she's like 6 foot tall, and she's gonna make money off of this. And Bobby's losing $18 million was left of his contract.
Wow.
So
I don't think he's gonna work again. Where's he gonna work?
he'll be an offensive coordinator for some pro team.
Well, if you're gonna hire someone that has that kind of character to begin, I mean, he hasn't had a stellar reputation to begin with.
No, I mean, he left Atlanta in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, he left them.
Christian, we got it? No?
We have about a minute left, so we don't have time.
We're gonna have
The
to do it.
computer
We got about a
crashed.
minute left.
Oh, good.
Computer crash, but you know what, we're gonna hear it next week. It's all right, Brian?
here next week.
Because if you
Yeah.
only have, here, get back on your mic, Brian, so we can hear you.
Yeah, we gotta check off, because we gotta go to the next show.
So we've got about a minute left, so we don't have really time to do it. But you guys will have to tune in next week. You'll hear Scoop's take on
Brianne Bateman and Lauren Gardner.
Thank you.
I can't believe there
go
was a
back?
computer snafu.
I know, that's too bad.
Did you get the second segment of the show yet? Because the computer crashed right when I was sending it.
And that really pissed me off. Kind of like that action movie where you have to get things done in time. Like that action movie where you have to race against the clock.
Which movie is that?
Any action movie.
So how long do you think you'll be in Denver before you're ready to move on to Boulder? Is it the next step after Denver?
Thinking about CU Boulder for my master's degree, but after I get my bachelor's degree, just gonna stay here and get my career going.
If you were to sum Brian up with one word, what would that one word be?
Tenacious.
Charming. Fastidious.
Intense.
Motivated.
Fearless. No question.
This is Brian Scoop Nemeth reminding us that life is a cheerful buffet with desserts for kicking ass, so don't fill up on negativity bread. Have a good night. Tiny cock with no balls. Tiny cock with no balls. Tiny cock with no balls.